What if the best way to lead isn't really about being in charge at all, but about serving? Today, we're going to dig into this idea called servant leadership and its surprising staying power. Is it just another corporate trend, or is there something more to it? We're going to find out why it has such a lasting impact, all based on the work of Jon Antonucci. All right, let's just get right into it. And come on, let's be real for a second. We've all been there, right? You've seen 60-plus years of leadership training, you've read the books, you've sat through the seminars, and yet bad bosses are still a thing. A big thing. It's so frustrating. And it's exactly why most of us, get a little skeptical when yet another new leadership idea pops up.
And that brings us to the big question for today. Is this servant leadership thing just the latest corporate buzzword? The one that's going to be on all the posters this year and gone by next? Or is there something, real here? Something foundational? Well, let's dig in and find out.
Okay, so to really bust this fad myth, the very first thing you got to know is that servant leadership, well, it isn't new. Not at all. In fact, it's ancient. And that, right there, that's the secret sauce. That's why it's so resilient.
I mean, just look at this timeline for a second. It's kind of wild. Sure, a guy named Robert Greenleaf gave it the name we use today back in 1970. But here's the kicker. He wasn't inventing something new. He was just plugging into a current of thought that goes back thousands of years. Seriously, we're talking about ideas that have survived the rise and fall of actual empires.
So get this. We've got Aristotle writing this over 2,000 years ago. And doesn't that sound like it was ripped straight out of a leadership book you'd find at Google today? Create the environment so people can realize their own potential. That right there, that's the core of it. It's timeless.
And then there's this one. Talk about radical. This just completely flips the whole idea of power on its head. Greatness isn't about climbing to the top. It's about being a servant. It's about lifting other people up. See, this isn't some new age business trend. It's a deep philosophical truth that's been resonating for centuries. And that's why it sticks around.
Okay, so that raises a pretty big question, right? If this idea is so ancient, why is it blowing up now? What's different? Well, the answer is, it's pretty fascinating, actually. The real revolution isn't the idea. It's the fact that it has totally changed the conversation around leadership.
And this really nails the difference. Think about it. It really wasn't that long ago that having a tough, maybe even a jerky boss was, well, just part of the job. You just kept your head down and dealt with it. But now? Oh, it's a totally different world. Now there's a loud, mainstream, public conversation happening all the time about what makes a good leader. And the whole thing basically revolves around serving your team.
And here's the key takeaway. This isn't just a nice to have anymore, not by a long shot. There's real, actual pressure now. You've got employees who have way more power and a much bigger voice. You've got a culture that's demanding empathy, and you've got companies that have finally figured out that good leadership is just plain good for business. The expectations have completely, fundamentally shifted. But hold on, it's not just about feelings and culture shifts. Nope. There's also a massive economic engine chugging along behind this whole thing. An engine that makes servant leadership, in a very practical sense, kind of too big to fail. So you got to look at it from two sides. On one hand, you've just got more and more people, leaders and staff alike, who actually believe in this. They see it working. But on the other hand, you have this huge, super profitable industry built around it. We're talking books, seminars, coaches, you name it. They all have a very real financial reason to keep this idea in the spotlight. It's like a powerful 1-2 punch.
And when I say huge, I'm not kidding. The leadership development industry globally is a multi-trillion-dollar business. Trillion, with a T. That is a mind-boggling amount of money. It creates this whole ecosystem that just feeds itself. More books, more training, more coaching. And listen, when an idea has that kind of cash behind it, it's not just a fad anymore. It's an institution.
So, what's the verdict? Where do we land? Well, when you add it all up, you take the ancient, deep roots, you add the way it's completely changed our workplace culture, and then you throw in the massive financial industry that's backing it. The conclusion is pretty darn clear. Servant leadership is not going anywhere. It is here to stay.
And maybe the best part of all this is, even if it's not always done perfectly, just the fact that we're having this conversation on a global scale is a huge win. Seriously, the more we all talk about and push for better, more caring leaders, the better our jobs are going to be for everyone. It's like that old saying, right? A rising tide lifts all boats.
And that really leaves us with the million-dollar question, doesn't it? If we accept that serving your team is the new normal, the new expectation, what's the difference between a leader who just talks the talk and one who actually walks the walk? How do you become truly effective at it? Now that's the real challenge, isn't it?
So everything we've gone over today has been inspired by concepts from Jon Antonucci's book, Servant-Minded Leadership. And if that last question got you thinking, if you really want to dive into what makes a leader truly effective, his work is a fantastic place to start. Thanks so much for tuning in.